Oh, by the way, I'm engaged to Jake. That's what my sister said. Right there, in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner. Like she was announcing she got a promotion or bought a new car. Like it was normal. Like she wasn't talking about my ex-boyfriend, the guy I dated for 3 years. The guy I thought I was going to marry. The guy who broke my heart 6 months ago. I literally dropped my fork. It clattered against my plate so loud, the entire table went silent. My mom's hand froze midair, holding a spoonful of mashed potatoes. My dad's jaw actually dropped. And my sister Sarah? She just smiled. That fake, sweet smile she's been practicing since we were kids. Let me back up. I'm Emily. I'm 26. And until about 30 seconds ago, I thought I was having a pretty decent Thanksgiving. You know, the whole family gathering thing. The turkey, the stuffing, the awkward small talk about who's dating who. I was even proud of myself for showing up, for being the bigger person, for not letting my recent breakup ruin the holidays. But here's the thing nobody tells you about betrayal. It doesn't come with a warning. It doesn't knock. It just walks right in, sits down at your dinner table, and asks you to pass the gravy. So now I'm sitting here, my hands shaking, my heart pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. And I'm wondering, am I crazy? Am I overreacting? Am I in the wrong for feeling like my entire world just got ripped apart? Because here's what I need you to understand before I tell you the rest of this story. My sister knew. She knew how much I loved him. She knew how bad the breakup wrecked me. And she still did this. She still sat there, holding his hand under the table, wearing a ring that should have been on my finger. If you were me, right now, in this exact moment, what would you do? Would you scream? Would you cry? Would you flip the entire table? Because I did something way worse. And trust me, you're gonna want to stick around for this. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and let's get into the most messed up Thanksgiving dinner in history. Okay, so let me give you some context before we get to the really crazy stuff. Because I know some of you are probably thinking, well, maybe they just happened to fall for each other after the breakup. Maybe it's not that deep. Oh, honey, it's so much deeper than that. And by the end of this, you're going to be just as furious as I was. So Jake and I met in college, junior year, biology lab. Classic meet cute, right? He spilled coffee on my notes, I yelled at him. He bought me new notes and coffee for a month. We were together for 3 years. 3 whole years. We talked about moving in together after graduation. We picked out names for our future dog. I genuinely thought this was it. My person. My forever. And then, 6 months ago, out of nowhere, he sat me down and said he needed space. Said he wasn't sure about us anymore. Said he loved me, but wasn't in love with me. You know, the whole cliché breakup speech that makes you feel like you're living in a bad rom-com, except there's no happy ending and you're the one sobbing into a pint of ice cream at 2 a.m.? I was devastated. Like, genuinely, physically devastated. I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks because I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I called in sick to work so many times my boss started giving me that look. And through all of it, my sister Sarah was there for me. Or at least, I thought she was. See, Sarah is 2 years older than me. And if I'm being completely honest, and this is the part that's hard to admit, she's always been the competitive one. The one who needed to win. When I got into my dream college, she applied to a better one. When I got a promotion, she somehow got a bigger one 2 weeks later. It was always this unspoken thing between us. This tension that our parents pretended didn't exist. But I never thought it would go this far. After the breakup, Sarah was actually pretty great at first. She came over with wine and bad movies. She let me cry on her shoulder. She even helped me box up Jake's stuff, his hoodies, his books, that stupid mug he loved. She held my hand through the whole thing and said, "You deserve so much better, Em. He's not worth your tears." Looking back now, I want to throw up. Because she was already sleeping with him. She was already planning their future. While I was crying to her about how much I missed him, she was texting him. While she was throwing his stuff in boxes for me, she was probably laughing about how easy it was to take him from me. But I didn't know that yet. All I knew was that Thanksgiving was coming up, and my mom had been begging both of us to come home. Sarah had been so busy with work lately, which, turns out, was code for so busy stealing your boyfriend, but she promised she'd be there. And I was actually excited. I thought, you know what? New chapter, fresh start, family time will be good for me. The drive to my parents' house was actually nice. I blasted Taylor Swift the breakup albums, obviously, and sang my heart out. I told myself I was healing. I told myself I was strong. I told myself that seeing my family would remind me that I had people who actually loved me. When I got there, my mom hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. My dad grilled me about work in that awkward dad way. And Sarah? She was already there, sitting at the kitchen island, looking way too put together for someone who supposedly just got off a long shift. She was wearing this red dress, my color, actually. The one she knew I always wore to holiday dinners, and she had this weird energy about her. Nervous, but excited. Like she was waiting for something. "Hey, Em," she said, hugging me. Her hug was stiff. Quick. The kind of hug you give someone you don't actually like. But I brushed it off. I was trying to be positive, you know? Trying to be the bigger sister. Dinner was fine. At first. My mom went all out turkey, ham, 3 kinds of pie. My dad carved the turkey with his special knife, the one he only uses on holidays. We went around the table saying what we were thankful for. My mom said family. My dad said health. I said second chances. And Sarah? She smiled that smile again and said, "I'm thankful for new beginnings." I should have known. I should have known right then that something was off. But I was too busy being grateful for my mashed potatoes to read between the lines. Then came the main course. We were about halfway through eating when my mom asked Sarah about work. And Sarah put down her fork. She took a deep breath. She looked at me directly at me, and then she said it. "Oh, by the way, I'm engaged. To Jake." The silence was deafening. Like, literally, you could hear the clock ticking on the wall. My mom's face went white. My dad's fork clattered against his plate. And me? I felt like someone had reached into my chest and ripped out my heart with their bare hands. "What?" I whispered. It was the only word I could get out. Sarah reached under the table and pulled out her left hand. There it was. A ring. A diamond ring. And not just any diamond, it was the exact style I'd shown Jake 2 years ago. The vintage cut. The rose gold band. The one I'd pinned on my Pinterest board with the caption, "Dream Ring." He'd remembered. He'd bought my dream ring. For my sister. We didn't want to make a big deal about it, Sarah said, her voice dripping with fake humility. But we figured Thanksgiving was the perfect time to share the news. With family. "Jake?" My mom's voice was shaky. "As in, Emily's Jake?" "Ex-boyfriend," Sarah corrected quickly. "They broke up 6 months ago. It's not like I stole him or anything." But here's the thing. The way she said it. The way she looked at me when she said it. She wanted me to know. She wanted this to hurt. This wasn't an announcement. This was a victory lap. "How long?" I asked. My voice was barely above a whisper, but it cut through the silence like a knife. Sarah's smile faltered for just a second. "How long, what? How long have you been seeing him?" She exchanged a glance with Wait. Where was she looking? At the doorway. And that's when I saw him, Jake, standing in the doorway of my parents' dining room, like he belonged there. Like he hadn't just destroyed my life 6 months ago and was now back to finish the job. "Hey, Emily," he said, casual, like we were old friends. Like he hadn't shattered my heart into a million pieces. I stood up so fast my chair tipped over. "You have got to be kidding me." "Emily, sit down," my dad said, but his voice lacked conviction. He was as shocked as I was. "How long?" I asked again, louder this time. "Sarah, I'm asking you a question. How long?" She sighed, like I was the one being dramatic. "We've been together for 4 months, okay? But Emily, you need to understand." "4 months?" I laughed, but it came out sounding broken. "4 months? We broke up 6 months ago. That means you were together 2 months after we broke up?" "Actually," Jake said, stepping further into the room, "we started talking before that. As friends. We didn't mean for it to happen, but..." "Friends?" I felt like I was going to be sick. "You were friends while we were still together?" The look on Sarah's face told me everything I needed to know. Everything. She didn't even have to say it, but she did anyway. Because Sarah never could resist twisting the knife. "Emily, you and Jake were already having problems. Everyone could see it. You were miserable. You were clingy. You were... Don't... I cut her off. My voice was shaking, but I was holding it together. Barely. Don't you dare make this about me. Don't you dare stand there in my parents' house, wearing my color, flashing my dream ring, and tell me this is my fault. My mom was crying now, silent tears running down her face. My dad looked like he wanted to disappear. And Jake? Jake was staring at his shoes. Coward. But Sarah? Sarah was just getting started. You know what your problem is, Emily? She said, standing up. Her voice was getting louder, more aggressive. The mask was slipping. You always think everything is about you. You always need to be the victim. Jake chose me. He loves me. And maybe if you weren't so insecure, so needy, so boring, he wouldn't have fallen for me in the first place. The word boring hit me like a physical blow. Because that was Jake's word. That was the word he used in our last fight. The word he threw at me when I asked why he was pulling away. You're just boring, Em. You don't excite me anymore. She'd been there. She'd heard that. Or worse, he'd told her. They'd laughed about it together. You're disgusting, I said, but my voice was small. I felt small. I felt like that little sister again, the one who always came in second. The one who wasn't enough. Emily, please. My mom finally spoke up. It's Thanksgiving. Can't we try to be happy for Sarah? Happy for Sarah? She wanted me to be happy for the woman who betrayed me with the man I loved. In that moment, I felt something shift inside me. The hurt didn't go away, it never goes away that fast, but something else took its place. Something cold. Something sharp. Something that said, not today. Not this time. You're not doing this to me again. I took a deep breath. I picked up my chair. I sat back down, and I smiled. It probably looked as fake as Sarah's, but I didn't care. You're right, Mom. I said, my voice surprisingly steady. It is Thanksgiving, and I am so thankful. Sarah, Jake, congratulations. Really, I'm so happy for you both. Sarah looked confused, suspicious. Good. She should be. I turned to Jake. You know, Jake, I have to say you have excellent taste in women. First me, then my sister. It's like you have a type, right? He shifted uncomfortably. Emily, I don't think... Oh, I'm not done, I said, my voice getting stronger. See, the funny thing is, Sarah, you think you won. You think you got the prize. But let me tell you something about Jake that you apparently don't know. Or maybe you do, and you just don't care. I reached into my purse, yes. I'd brought my purse to the dinner table. Don't judge me, and pulled out my phone. I'd been carrying this around for months. The screenshots. The messages. The proof I'd found after the breakup, when I was going through old texts, trying to understand what went wrong. 3 weeks before Jake broke up with me, I said, scrolling through my phone. He sent me a text. Said he was working late. Said he loved me. Said he couldn't wait to see me that weekend. I looked up at Jake. His face had gone pale. But you know what I found out later? He wasn't working late. He was at a hotel. With someone. Sarah's smile was completely gone now. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that Jake cheated on me. Multiple times. With multiple women. I have the screenshots, Sarah. The hotel receipts. The Instagram DMs. I found them after we broke up, when I was trying to figure out what I did wrong. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Turns out, I didn't do anything wrong. He was just, well, a cheater. I turned my phone around and showed the table. The screenshots were there. Clear as day. Jake's name. The dates. The messages that made me cry for weeks. That's not, Jake started. True? I finished for him. Oh, it's true. And here's the best part, Sarah. The really best part. I swiped to another screenshot. See this date? 2 weeks before Jake broke up with me. This message? It's from Jake to a woman named S. Says he can't wait to see her. Says she's the only one who understands him. Says he's going to end things with Emily soon so they can be together. I looked Sarah dead in the eyes. That S wouldn't happen to stand for Sarah, would it? The color drained from her face. She looked at Jake. He wouldn't meet her eyes. You were together before we broke up, I said. It wasn't a question anymore. It was a fact. You were sleeping with my boyfriend while I was still with him. While I was planning our future. While I was in love with him. You didn't fall for each other after. You were already there. You were already betraying me. The room was completely silent. My mom was sobbing openly now. My dad looked like he wanted to punch Jake, which, honestly, would have been the highlight of my year. That's not we didn't, Sarah stammered. For the first time since I'd known her, she was speechless. Save it, I said, standing up again. But this time, I wasn't the broken girl tipping over her chair. I was someone else. Someone who'd had enough. You want to know the truth, Sarah? You didn't win. You didn't get some amazing guy who chose you over me. You got a cheater. A liar. A coward who couldn't even break up with me before moving on to my sister. And you know what? You two deserve each other. Truly. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I walked over to Jake, who looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. And you. You get to live with the fact that you destroyed a family. You get to look at your fiancée and know that she was willing to stab her own sister in the back for you. Hope that makes you feel like a real man. I turned back to the table, to my parents. To the Thanksgiving dinner that would never, ever be the same. I'm sorry, Mom, Dad. I know this isn't what you wanted, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is okay. I'm not going to be the bigger person. Not this time. I grabbed my coat from the back of my chair. I'm going to go now, and I'm not coming back until she's gone. Until they're gone. I walked to the door, but before I left, I turned around one last time. Sarah was crying now. Real tears. Not the fake ones she used to get her way. Jake was still staring at the floor. And my parents. My parents looked heartbroken, but they didn't stop me. They didn't tell me to stay. And in that moment, I knew I'd done the right thing. Oh, and Sarah? I said, my hand on the doorknob. Enjoy the ring. It looks better on you anyway, because every time you look at it, you're going to remember this moment. You're going to remember that you didn't earn it. You stole it. And stolen things? They never last. I walked out. The cold November air hit my face, and I realized I was crying. But they weren't the same tears I'd cried 6 months ago. These were different. These were the tears of someone who finally stood up for herself. Someone who finally said enough. I got in my car. I drove. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew one thing for sure. I was never going to let anyone make me feel small again. Not my sister, not Jake, not anyone. And that was the real beginning of my new beginning. So here's what happened after I walked out that door. I didn't go home. I drove to my best friend Lisa's apartment, and I told her everything. Every single detail. And you know what she did? She didn't say, "I told you so," even though she had, multiple times. She didn't say, "Calm down" or "think about the family." She opened a bottle of wine, handed me a blanket, and said, "You did the right thing, and I'm proud of you." That night, I slept better than I had in months. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't carrying the weight of someone else's betrayal. I wasn't wondering what I did wrong. I wasn't blaming myself for not being enough. I knew the truth. And the truth was simple. I didn't lose Jake because I was boring, or clingy, or any of the things Sarah said. I lost him because he was a coward, and she was a snake. And honestly, good riddance to both of them. The next morning, my mom called. She was still crying, but she said something that meant everything to me. She said, "Emily, I'm sorry I asked you to be happy for her. That was wrong. You don't ever have to be okay with this. Not for me. Not for anyone." My dad took the phone and said, "Jake's not welcome in this house anymore. And Sarah needs to figure out what kind of person she wants to be." Sarah tried to call me a few times after that, left voicemails, sent texts. At first, they were angry. How dare I embarrass her? How dare I ruin Thanksgiving? How dare I air dirty laundry? But then they changed. Then she was sorry. Then she didn't know what she was thinking. Then she was going through something. I didn't respond to any of them, because sorry doesn't erase betrayal. Sorry doesn't give you back the months of pain, the sleepless nights, the trust you shattered. Sorry is just a word. And words don't fix what she broke. As for Jake, I heard through mutual friends that he and Sarah broke up about 2 months later. Turns out, a relationship built on lies and betrayal doesn't have a great foundation. Who knew, right? Last I heard, he was dating someone new. And Sarah? She's been trying to reconnect with the family, but my parents made it clear. She can come to Christmas, but only if she's alone. Only if she's ready to actually apologize. Not for getting caught, for what she did. Me? I'm doing better than I ever have. I got a promotion at work. I started therapy, which, by the way, everyone should try at least once. I even went on a date last week. It was terrible, but that's not the point. The point is, I'm trying. I'm living. I'm not letting what they did define me anymore. So, here's my question to you, and I really want you to think about this before you comment. Am I in the wrong? Was I wrong for exposing them at Thanksgiving? Was I wrong for walking out? Was I wrong for not accepting her apology? Because sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I think, maybe I should have been quieter. Maybe I should have handled it privately. But then I remember how she looked at me when she said boring. I remember how she smiled while she shattered my heart. And I know I did exactly what I needed to do. The lesson I learned? Your family isn't always blood. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most are the ones who share your DNA. And that's okay, because family isn't about genetics. It's about loyalty. It's about love. It's about showing up for each other, even when it's hard. Sarah wasn't my family that night. Lisa was. My parents were. And I am so grateful I finally saw the difference. If you made it this far, thank you. Seriously. I know this was a long one, but I needed to get it out. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, drop a heart in the comments. If you think I handled it right, let me know. If you think I was too harsh, say that too. I can take it. And if this story resonated with you, if it made you feel something, hit that subscribe button. I tell stories like this every week, the messy, real, unfiltered kind. The kind that reminds you you're not alone in your pain, because you're not. I promise. Until next time, stay strong, stay loyal, and never let anyone make you feel like you're not enough, because you are. You absolutely are.